Welcome back, Shalligators. I thought I would do a follow-up to yesterday's video about Meghan Markle losing her Spotify deal, because that video got picked up by the Daily Mail and then the New York Post, Daily Beast. I was trending on Fox News, on and on and on. And, you know, I try not to read the comments. I mean, I read your guys' comments because we're all here in like the Shallon, the little bubble. We love it. But you know, it's weird, like when I hit a more public stage and there's new people commenting, you're like, who the hell are these people? And boy, oh boy, people had things to say about me, as per. That's fine. You have to be built for this job. Unfortunately, I am. And people like, this YouTuber, she's obsessed with Meghan. Why does she care? Like these crazy vitriolic rants against me. And it's just funny because, like, dude, do you understand that when I talk about celebrities, I'm getting paid, and when you're ranting about me, you're doing it for free? We're not the same. This is a job. And I sat with it for a little bit because I was actually telling the guy that I'm dating, I was like, babe, look at this like video's like really blowing up and stuff. And he, unbeknownst to me, he would not have gotten past the first date. I know this. He's a big Suits fan. He's like, she's my favorite actress. I'm like, Bo, what? He's a professional bull rider. He's like a PBR bull rider. So he's lucky, he's cute. We fight all the time. He's like, yeah, like I loved that show. It was literally, outside of Game of Thrones, the best show I've ever seen. Like, I don't believe that anybody, including like the writers on that show, described it that way, but okay. Like, he's like, you'd hate it though, because she's in literally every episode. And he's like, you really don't like her. I said, no, I don't. Tell me why. Like, why? Why does she get under your skin? I said, Meghan Markle is the archetype, ironically, of everything that I find wrong and frightening and irritating in the world. She's a professional victim. She has entrenched so hard into an undeserved, mostly self-created victim narrative that it's become her entire identity. And he's like, okay, well, he kind of stopped listening, but I absolutely believe that this is a huge problem facing the world. I mean, huge. That people are getting so much juice and so much shine off of their, like I said, probably many times mostly perceived victim status, that it becomes their entire existence. What happened to champions? What happened to heroes? What happened to it girls? What happened to aspiration? What happened to dealing with it and moving on? If someone like Meghan Markle, who compared to the entire rest of the world has lived an incredibly charmed life, right? Her and I basically lived a very similar life up until she married into the monarchy. We both came from single mothers. We both have very unpleasant, messy fathers. And I always describe myself as like, I was born under a lucky star. The hand of God has never left me. That doesn't mean there's no trials or tribulations in my life. But for some reason, Meghan refuses to see her blessed existence as exactly that. Why? And why are there so many people following Suits? Do you see what I did there? I'm so funny. I'm a professional YouTuber. So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to go hard. I'm going to double down. But before we get started, you guys follow me on Instagram. If you are new around here, or if you're not following me on Instagram, you might like what you find. I'm doing a whole bunch of reels, giving little bite-sized pieces of dating advice and life hacks. I've done a whole series recently on boundaries and how to set boundaries in like a non-weird way. Not like, I'm setting a boundary, but a simple thing you can do literally at a party to set a boundary so that people stop messing with you. And today's reel, it is truly, I think, the best piece of advice I've ever given in my life. And you know, I'm a narcissist, so I think everything I say is amazing. But this one really is. It's what to do, how to Uno reverse a guy when he says, you know, I think I just want to keep things casual. He doesn't want to date you, but he absolutely wants to keep having sex with you. I will tell you what to say to him that will destroy him. I'll tell you how to destroy a fuckboy. So head over to Instagram. And also, if you like history and glamour, you know, I post my little glamour influencer shots, but I do a history deep dive from wherever I'm taking these photos because I travel a lot and I'm always really interested in the history behind the places I'm at. So the latest deep dive I did was about a Greek hooker who whipped her boobs out and saved her own life. Yeah, it's possible, right? Don't waste those perky tit years, girls. They just might keep you alive. So go ahead and check that out. And also, if you're new here, we have a bunch of new subscribers. Welcome! Welcome to the Shallontourage. That's what we call it around here. We are known as Shalligators. Here's some things we hate. My bangs, they are our mortal constant enemy. We're no great fans of Selena Gomez. The whisper guitar. We like Hailey Bieber. Well, I do. I don't know if anybody else agrees, but I really do. We like ruthlessness. We like revenge. We like lip gloss. We like our perky tit ears. We are alpha females, and we love that you're here. So thank you for joining us. It's great. It's a great community. So welcome, Meghan. So last video, I talked about how Meghan and Harry lost their deal with Spotify to do their podcast because they weren't producing enough content. And I also talked about how deeply embarrassing that is, considering I am a content creator. I have a podcast. I have many other tentacles of what I call the business octopus, the YouTube channel, TikTok, Instagram, a fan group. I mean, it goes on. And I have a team of precisely nobody. In terms of producing this content, no, it's nobody. I have brand managers, but they're not day-to-day making content. So you guys on that last video pointed out that Meghan, for her podcast, had 28 employees. Why not 20 million? Why stop there? It's a crazy, insane amount. And she couldn't still do the work. And I also thought, like she had a responsibility to those people she employed. Like that was their livelihood and she just like couldn't be bothered. So her podcast was called Archetypes. And like I said in the last video, I think it's a cool concept. It's like you interview the archetype, basically like the quintessential, like the classic, typical definition of fill in the blank. So you had the archetype diva, Mariah Carey, the archetype it girl, Paris Hilton, right? It just didn't really like take off, bit of a flop. But one of you guys pointed out in the comments on the last video, and I will remember this for the rest of my life. Meghan's podcast description is something, give a voice to the voiceless. When I think of the voiceless, I think, like most of us, I think of like African orphans who've lost a limb to landmines, and Mariah Carey. Of course. I mean, they walk hand in hand. Well, the kids can't walk, but Mariah, I mean, she's right there. It's the same. Won't someone listen to Mariah Carey? So this brings me to my larger point. You want to talk archetypes? I would love to, Meghan, because she is the archetype for the victim. Did she interview herself? Meghan, what's it like to be a professional victim? You don't have to ask her because she brings it up all the time. Remember when she compared herself to Nelson Mandela? Nelson Mandela. Meghan never misses an opportunity to cast herself as the victim. She's a victim of the British press, the British monarchy, her family's her weird dad, which that maybe holds some water. And this is the thing with people like that. They're the boy who cried wolf. Like, yeah, maybe you were a victim of something once upon a time, but you took the shine that you got off of that and you just ran with it. And we actually talked about this recently in an episode, I think 2 videos ago, about Scamanda, that cancer scammer. And we've done some deep dives in the comment section on this because so many of you guys were like, a lot of illness fakers and people who scam in the health sector, kind of, they do it because there is at some point, maybe they have a cancer scare or they were sick when they were a kid and they remember the shine they got off that. They remember the attention. They remember the power that they had. And they can't help themselves. The power. You're thinking, Shallon, what do you mean the power? How can someone who's sick have power? How can a victim have power? Because what is the number one thing a manipulative person wants? Pity. Manipulative people want pity because it's such an easy gateway to power. It's such a short Cliff Note bypass way to get your claws into someone and gain control over them. I say this all the time. Have you ever called someone in a wheelchair an asshole? Me neither, but I bet some people in wheelchairs are. But you're not going to say that because you feel bad for them. They're going through enough, they're suffering enough, they're doing the best they can. Of course they're having a bad day. They have power over you. In that moment, that's true. Sometimes it's justified and deserved, sometimes no. But let's look at it in our own life. Like, right, we We use this tool all the time. You're late for work. What do you say? Hey, I was curling my hair and like, I also just don't want to be here. No. Do you walk in late with the drink that made you late, smiling like, they made it with oat milk at first and I had to send it back. No, you come up with a story. My car wouldn't start. My grandma fell playing hockey yesterday. Blah, blah, blah. You come up with a story that engenders some degree of pity, right? It's useful. It just kind of greases the wheels a little bit. And you probably do it in a sort of appropriate grandma played hockey kind of way. People like Meghan, people like Scamanda, they don't. They get a taste of that. And it's like any other drug, more. And what do we know about drugs? The need for them is bottomless. You never hear an addict say, I've done enough heroin, I'm okay. No, they'll do it forever as much as they can get their grubby little mitts on. And that's the case with attention, because attention is also power. And I look at Meghan and her relentless victim narrative of everything from racism. Everyone who comes against her is racist. Well, that's power too, right? And so many people right now are totally willing to take that excuse and run with it, even though it makes absolutely no sense. Absolutely none. Everything I've ever said about her has nothing to do with her race. In fact, what did we say last video? I quoted Martin Luther King. I'm not judging her by the color of her skin, but the content of her character, and actually the content of her content. So there's that. I mean, there's that whole victim narrative. There's the other more visceral one, like we were being chased at high speed through New York City. No, the fuck you were not. That's not even possible. I lived in New York City for over a decade. Unless you were going 10 miles an hour, you weren't getting chased. It's the most ridiculous thing, but she cannot miss an opportunity to position herself as a victim. My husband's family didn't like me. They were making racist comments about the baby, asking what the baby's gonna look like. That is like the standard baby question, by the way. Kirkland signature baby question, okay? I don't think it's really racist at all. But it's just never-ending victim machine. And that's how you know it's bullshit, is because it never does end. It never does end. If she's like, I'm an Iraq war veteran, and my victim story is that the Navy hung me out to dry in terms of my benefits. People who are actually victims, they stick to that story because that's where the victimhood is. They want their benefits from the Navy. Okay, they're going to move on. Once that's taken care of, they're going to move it on. If they're a healthy person and not committed to a victim narrative, that's what's going to happen. Meghan's not like that. And this is how you can tell a professional victim, because there's always going to be some crisis. There's always going to be someone who wronged them, who didn't understand them. Or maybe they're going to play the same card over and over again. The CVS cashier was racist. The girl who did my mammogram was racist. The guy at Jiffy Lube was racist. I didn't even meet him, but I just can tell. It's going to come up again and again and again with a frequency that makes absolutely no goddamn sense. And that's why Meghan bothers me. Because we see this type of person everywhere now. Everywhere. It's not just our crazy cousin who acts like this, or one random celebrity who's clearly on drugs or something acting weird. It is absolutely rampant and everywhere. It's rampant and everywhere. Have you seen these people on TikTok who claim that they have multiple personality disorder and they're filming themselves switching in and out of the personalities? Girl, bye. Do you know the hallmark of that personality disorder? You don't know that you have it. You don't know that you have it, man. It's like sleepwalking. Here I am sleepwalking. I'm going to go over here. I'm sleepwalking. You don't know that you're doing it. Dissociative personality disorder, you don't know that. But people get so much shine off that. So that's why she gets under my skin, because she is the archetype of this personality that keeps coming up over and over again in our personal lives, on our TikTok feed, at an Oscar ceremony. I mean, everyone has got a sad song to sing and they're shouting it from the rooftops. Even someone like Paris Hilton, the archetype of the it girl, right? Like, I grew up and Paris Hilton was beyond a celebrity. She was the sun and the moon and the stars. Everyone was obsessed with her. She was so perfect. She was a mess, but you know what I mean? She was so incredibly compelling and watchable. She was a star. What's the main thing we've discussed talking about Paris Hilton in the last 2 years? How she was a victim of this teen bad girl school that like locked her in a cage or something. And I'm not invalidating her experience. And I'm actually glad she's talking about it because she's talking about it for a specific reason. She's trying to bring awareness like, hey, parents, don't send your kids there. Hey, the fact that I went through this actually explains why I'm a workaholic. It explains why I rebelled and did all these things later. It's a piece of a puzzle that people are interested in knowing. There is no puzzle for Meghan because it's all self-created. So it's not adding up to something because it kind of doesn't exist. And therefore, it'll shift constantly however she needs it. If anything is possible, then nothing is real. Right? So again, I gotta ask, where are the champions? I consider Paris Hilton talking about her victim situation as a champion story because look what she's accomplished. And you can love her or hate her. The woman's almost a billionaire. Did you ever turn a sex tape into a billionaire? No. Same with Kim. You turn a blowjob into a billion? Me neither. Me neither. So incredible, amazing, wow. But again, like, where's Meghan going with this? A voice to the voiceless? Who are you speaking on behalf of? People who are experiencing racism? Who? Did you have any of those people on your podcast? Any normal people? No. Oh, no. It was Mariah Carey. Okay. No, I'm just checking. And again, the reason this gets under my skin is because we are living in a hero-less age. We are living in a time when nobody wants to turn their worst story into their best story. They just like the worst story because any attention is better than no attention. The concept of this absolutely blows my mind. I loathe being pitied. I despise it. And when I say that, I don't mean no one should have anything they've gone through. Not at all. Or we should all like put on this like weird brave face and be just blocks of ice and never get in touch with our emotions. I actually mean the opposite. You can acknowledge the things that have happened to you, but you should be using a setback to create a setup. Because what do we always say around here? You can't change what happened, but you can change what it means. I've had some hard knocks in my life. My father committed suicide when I was 22. I was kidnapped when I was a little girl. I was assaulted in college. These are not great things. And I could dwell in them and I could make TikToks of my pain. This is my journey. Shut up. But I don't like to live there because I have higher expectations of myself than a victim. And because with victimhood, with pity comes very low expectations. When you feel sorry for someone, you don't expect much. And guess the fuck what, sweetheart? When people feel sorry for you, they don't expect much either. For a woman like me, for women like you, alpha females, that is the most egregious insult you can possibly hand us. I don't expect too much of you. What did you say to me? Excuse me? How dare you? How dare you? And because that feeling was so gross to me at a very early age, I got in the habit of turning setbacks into setup, or at the very least, what can I learn from this? You know what I learned about being kidnapped? People in other countries have it really, really hard. And they don't just have the benefit of a trust fund or, free lunches at school because they don't even get to go to school because sometimes they don't have shoes. They don't have street lights and electricity. Maybe they're doing the best they can given their very limited options. So maybe have a little empathy for how other countries work and how people behave, And that might seem whack to you. That might seem like a whack ass way to spin a childhood kidnapping. But it's way better than like, I'm afraid to go out. I don't trust strangers. I'm afraid of like other races. I don't want to travel. That is that experience robbing me over and over and over and over and over again. That is the trauma just going on and on and on and on and on and on forever. Kidnapping ended after like a day, but I can keep it going for the rest of my life. Yay, look at this. I don't want to do that. I don't like it being in that place. I don't like it. I like feeling good. Sorry, I'm a little pleasure kitten. The assault in college, you know what I learned? No one's coming to save me. No one's coming to save me. No one cares. If I was in pain, no one believes me. Okay. So that was the most painful thing I've had to experience. Not even the event, it was that fallout. But what I got out of that was, no one's coming to save me. Then everyone who thinks they have an opinion about my life and I should do what they want can go fuck themselves. Because when the going got tough, where were you? So I'm going to live my life for me. That's how that goes. You can call me a narcissist. I call it self-love. I call it resilience. I call it a champion story. I'm not surprised that most people can't relate to that. Look at how people behave. You have someone like Meghan Markle, this opinion leader, aggrandizing her, again, seemingly imagined pain, her amplified victimhood. Yeah, I bet someone like me doesn't make any sense to them. I bet I am scary and monstrous. Nothing could be scarier for a weak person than to see a strong person. For someone who refuses to get up and say, what can I learn from this? How can I heal from this? Can I go to therapy? Can I fix myself? Can I find a blessing? Can I renew my faith in God? Someone who won't do that, to look at someone who will? Nightmare fuel, nightmare fuel, nightmare fuel. And as for what I learned from the suicide of my father, girl, I don't know. Some days I think it's one thing, some days I think it's the other. I don't know. I don't know that I'm ever going to have a beautiful, tidy package for that. And I know that a lot of our traumas are like that. Like, I don't know why my mom died of cancer. You know, that might be it's like, I can't turn that into like a wonderful story. That's not what I'm asking you to do. That's not what I'm asking you to do. I'm simply asking you to not let it keep taking from you as much as you can. Do as much as you can to get yourself out of that place. Or maybe the silver lining is I'm going to be really grateful for every day I wake up. I'm going to be grateful for my health. Health is wealth. I'm going to be grateful for the people in my life, for the people who pulled up for me when I went through that. And will those lessons be wonderful enough to balance out what happened? No. I'm not going to tell you. You're probably never going to look at that, whatever your trauma is, and be like, yes, woo! I'm so glad that I had to learn that lesson that way. No, and that's completely okay. That's okay. But if you can get 10% good, it's not 100%, it's not 200% to cancel it out, 10%, isn't that better than 0%? Because again, you can't change that. That thing happened. Can you change what it means? Can you change what you get out of it? Can you change how it might change you? Can you do that? It's brave. Takes a lot. And like I said, I don't know what I'm going to get out of my father's death. Some days it's something, some days it's nothing. But the fact that I'm even asking myself and seeking that answer is an answer. That in and of itself is the champion story. Maybe you don't have all the answers. Maybe you're not at that finish line. Maybe you don't have some like cute little soundbite to say on a YouTube video. But the fact that you're even moving in that direction instead of this direction is the win. That is the win. That's the win. And someone like Meghan Markle won't do that. Someone like Meghan can't possibly use her voice to help anybody else, because if she does that, what happens? She shifts out of the victim and she has to become the hero. Those two things are not one and the same. You cannot be both at the same time. You can go from victim to hero, but you're not the same. And she can't do that. She refuses to do that. That is how deep she is in this victim narrative. That's how much it means to her, that she can't even have like a single homeless mom on her show, where she could have done archetypes, but like that, fine, do a celebrity version. She could have done a non-celebrity version. I'm a quintessential homeless black single mom. I'm going to the shelter to interview that woman. I'm the quintessential Iraq war veteran who's suffering from PTSD. That would have been dope. But she couldn't do that. She couldn't do that. Because then she would have to stop being the victim. She would have to get down off the victim throne and let somebody else take the spotlight. She couldn't do it. She couldn't do it. Won't do it. Can't stop, won't stop. And I see so many people like that in my life, on social media, in the world, and I absolutely despise them. I despise that. And it's ironic because they think that this pity is going to make everyone love them. Not Shallon Lester, sweetheart. Not around here. You run that fucking game on someone else. You don't run it on me. You don't run it on me. I want to help people who want to help themselves. I want to be around people who've gone through shit, but they've learned from it, or maybe they're still in it. That's all right. They're moving into a place of, yes, a place of positivity, out of a victimhood, even if it is a snail's pace, that's still movement. Good for you. I will be there cheering you along. I saw something on Instagram the other day. This guy posted, and he said, if you have car trouble, if your car breaks down on the side of the road and you just sit in your car, no one is going to stop to help you. But if you get out and start pushing, people will. People want to help people who help themselves. That was the moral of that story. And I love that. That's such a beautiful, crystallized way to view victim narratives. Sit your ass in your broken down car. You don't want to help yourself? I'm not getting out of my lane to help you at all. This is your life. You want to be a victim? That's fine. But you get off to the side of the road. Okay, we're going fast around here. And you're at a dead stop. You're at a dead stop. I just think it's a really sad, and like I said at the beginning, I think it's scary how victim-y we've gotten. And I don't know if it's this way around the world. I kind of just, look at American things, I live in America, so that's pretty much my purview. But I find it very frightening how weak this is making us look internationally. I feel like some dictator somewhere is just like, excellent, there's another weird TikTok video with another weak American. I don't like it at all. I don't like it at all. We used to be a nation of strength. We used to be a proper country. We wanted to look strong. We wanted to look big. We wanted to look capable. We wanted to be the heroes for the rest of the world. We wanted to go and rescue people. We can't even rescue our fucking selves from our anxiety. And you got Meghan up here leading the charge, saying, hey, this is great. Let me tell you something, kids, gather around. You can be beautiful and charismatic and lucky and sexy and have great skin. She does. And you can marry a prince and you can live in a castle and you can also bitch about it 24 hours a day. That doesn't have to stop your victim narrative. No. How dare she? How dare she try to sell us this slop, this ridiculous narrative that her life is unfair and she's oppressed and blah, 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 and whatever the words are these days. So yeah, that's why I don't like her. She has every advantage in the world and she still finds a way to be the victim. I don't get it. You guys can make fun of me all you want when I say, look, I'm a narcissist with a lowercase n. Honey, I want to look good, but I certainly don't tell lies that would make me look bad. I'm only going to tell a story where I come out looking good. I'm Blanche Devereaux, okay? And it blows my mind that other people get off on looking bad and weak. I don't get it. And the indictment is like, we have to feel your feelings. I know exactly how to feel my feelings. Why? Because I'm strong. Because I cultivate strength. It's actually weak people who don't know how to feel their feelings in a legitimate way. They stay in the victimhood, but they forget that that's only part of healing. You're supposed to feel the bad and then you're supposed to bounce upwards. That word is called resilience. Okay? You want that. Resilience is the foundation to happiness. Another word you need to know is grit. Grit means you fall down, you get back up again. That's how you build confidence. And I think we all know confidence is important. But some people, they get down, they're like, this is just fine down here. I don't care. They're not the strong ones. And they're certainly not the smart ones. If that's how people want to live their life, I don't know. It don't make sense to me. But I am always going to beat back that rhetoric. I am always going to be the wall that kind of bullshit behavior breaks against. And a chick with a tiara is no exception. Sorry. Let me know what you guys think. Yeah. And like I said, join me on Instagram if you're not already. Get some historical deep dives, some really good, easy, digestible dating advice. I think we've got a series. Let's see, what's our next one? Coming up on the friend zone, how to effectively friend zone a guy. This trick is unbelievable. Always works. All right, Shalligators, thanks for being here. I'll see you next time.